And, they're talking about it, and now they're doing things about it. And so they could extend this another year beyond that. But it's not going to make it go away because it's creating nothing. They're just throwing money at a problem, and it's not solving the problem. So sooner or later, deflation will take over. But in the meantime, we're going to have hyperinflation.
Now, mortgage applications, you have in your newsletter, the July 3rd MBA mortgage applications, they rose almost 11%. Applications. What percentage of that 11% of the mortgage applications are actually getting a mortgage?
Probably 20%.
20% of the people.
About 60% of the people who are buying homes right now are buying foreclosures. And, of course, instead of paying $500,000 for the home, they're probably buying them for $160,000 or something like that. And they're speculating. And these same speculators who speculated before are going to lose again because rates sooner or later are going to go up. And also, the inventory of homes continues. And even though builders have cut back 80.4% from the peak in building new homes, they're still building about 20%. And they're looking at a situation where the inventory is still around 11 months. And, the people who are buying the homes, the foreclosures for the most part, they're gambling and they're putting renters in there in these places in order just to try to cover their costs, anticipating a rise in real estate that isn't going to come for years. So it's all bad. It's not good.
I'd heard today, Bob, that we've got some banks which were recipients of bailout money that are making billions of dollars in profit. Would it be smarter to pay that money back, which is, this is like a shell game. But if they're making billions of dollars in profit, why are they not taking those billions and going out there into the mortgage market, doing the refis, taking on, whether it's a speculator or some guy out there or woman that has a job that thinks that they can make the mortgage payments, make the application, and get themselves into a home? See, this is why I said...
There's a big reason for that, and that's because they're holding all these toxic assets on the books and off the books, and they've got to get rid of them. That's why the Fed is buying a lot of them. But we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars.
That's what I was just going to say. Billions ain't going to cut it. So they're still, to this day, and this is what I said, with this TARP money. Why wasn't there some enterprising Congress critter up there in some banking committee and said, okay, we're going to give you the money, but you've got to allocate a certain percentage of that money for mortgages to keep this stuff going. Here we are, a year and a half, almost 2 years into this thing, and the banks have not seen yet fit to make that credit available for the housing market. What a scam, folks. What a deal. We've got loaded phones. We'll pick it up right after this break.
You're tuned in to the National Intel Report, the Real Talk Radio Show.
I'd like to thank KTAE 1330 AM for picking this program up. Covers Elgin, Waco, Cameron, Killeen, and Temple. I'd like to say hi to our boys in uniform up there in Killeen, the largest United States Army base on the entire planet. And I'd like to give a little shout-out to Mr. Lundgren. Thank you for carrying this program. There are other sources other than GCN and Oracle. We do appreciate it.
Good to see Ernest Hancock part of the family.
Yeah, Ernie, he thought he had an ISDN line, but he's got one installed, but he doesn't have the gizmo to connect, so we're working on that. But, Ernest Hancock, old Ernie, is on from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. That is our resident anarchist. Renee in North Carolina. Hello, Renee.
Yes. I'm calling to kind of back up Richard in Canada, too. I was impressed with him also, and from what I know, I would recommend that Canadian buyers consider him. I will not be naming the website that I am using because it would be rude because they sell gold as well as silver and platinum and palladium. But when I heard him quote on Silver Eagles spot plus 225, I'm looking at a web page right now in the United States that also I could pick up the phone right now and get a lot of 100 Silver Eagles at spot plus 225. The Maple Leafs are spot plus 210, and the Philharmonics are also spot plus 210. Silver rounds are spot plus $1. And so, like I say, I'm only talking about silver here, and that's also with free insured freight on orders over $2,000. And so from what I heard from Richard, if I was in Canada, and I know you have a lot of Canadian listeners, I would trust this guy.
All right. Is that it, Renee?
You know what? I have a question. For Bob or whoever. What is Bob's best guess that he thinks will happen to real estate values between now and fall or winter of 2010? How does he have any ideas on how much further he thinks that it will drop from what they're asking now?
Bob?
Well, it varies from area to area. That's not evasion. That's a problem. And, in California and Nevada and Arizona, Maryland, places like that were hot markets, there were 30 of them, they're going to get down another 20%. Now, I talked to somebody in Indianapolis whose home had only gone down about 5 or 10%. And they call Indianapolis Nap Town because it's a sleepy place. But I think that somebody in Indianapolis can look forward to another 10% downside, even though they didn't have any great upside. So it varies from place to place, but I don't think the price on homes is going to stop going down until we enter into 2013. Then I think all of the worst will be over. But goodness knows how long we're going to sit on the bottom.
Well, and keeping in mind, when can we refinance? Because, folks, if you think about this, if you went out and bought a $200,000 house and you've got a 30-year fixed mortgage right now and your home price is declining, you're already upside down. You take the interest, the decline in the real estate price, and you can't go and get anything refinanced,
There are areas where housing prices are actually increasing, you know that. And they all are situated around mining operations.
That's right.
Well, and in your newsletter, Renee, in Mr. Chapman's newsletter, just in Manhattan, give you an example, apartment rents fell as much as 18% in the second quarter from a year earlier. The median price dropped 3.1% to $3,100 a month. That's right, that's rent in Manhattan. Appraiser Miller Samuel Inc. and broker Prudential Douglas, I think this is Elliman Real Estate, said studio prices fell 18% to $2,000. One-bedroom apartments declined 13% to $2,795. Two bedrooms are down 5.1%, $4,550, and three bedrooms dropped 4% to $7,673. And here in Central Texas, we've been faring better than most places in the country. As a matter of fact, Austin and Travis County and parts of Williamson County here, which I'm in, are faring better than any place else in the country, which is it's kind of good for us here in Central Texas. We don't have the unemployment that other people are experiencing, like, say, versus Michigan, that looks like the aftermath of Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Renee, thank you for your call, dear.
But housing prices didn't go nuts during the run-up, right?
No, they didn't. No, they really, well, and if you understand the real estate market in Michigan, and especially in and around the Detroit area, even in the best of times, you could buy a house fairly cheap.
I think I don't know, Bob can correct me on this one, but for real estate prices to bottom out, we've got to go back to sort of mid-1990 levels.
Well, I think we're going to go lower than that.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to go back to 1983, 84 levels.
You know what's fascinating to me, Bob? I'm listening to the talking heads, the cheerleaders for Wall Street, as I call them, and they keep reminding people, well, it looks like the housing market, since there's not such a sharp decline this month, it looks like it's bottoming out.
Yeah, it's called being less worse.
Well, it's called being well, they're liars is what they are, and they know that. That's what they get paid for.
And Jim Cramer, I appreciate this guy. What a high energy liar, huh? Boy, he puts his heart in
High energy
someone.
liar.
Yeah.
Meredith Whitney yesterday, although the street was more concerned with the fact that she gave a buy recommendation on Goldman Sachs,